and they're off, and missing buttons. Hasn't jumped away, has jumped away now, but is a long way behind. In fact, is going off in the other direction. 11th Day is in front as they jump the first, and they are all over. Almighty Moon is racing prominently as they go on towards the turn. A piece of the moon is right there, and Hutton, Shadrach, Sea Dragon, Rapid Redemption. So they're rounding the turn to face up to the cross fence, and it is a piece of the moon and Rapid Redemption. They are the front two, being followed by Almighty Moon, and then Hutton, Shadrach, Sea Dragon, 11th Day, Falstaff, and Blackhill King is on the inside of Willie L. And the two dropped out at the back there, Aberfeldy and Wotter Trotter, giving them plenty of start. And the one taking off is Rapid Redemption, heading towards fence number 3 of the 18. Now this is Rapid Redemption in front. A piece of the moon is in second place. They come to it. Rapid Redemption comes to it now anyway. Rapid Redemption going off the Stewards' Cup pace. From in second place, a piece of the moon. And then in behind is Hutton, Shadrach, being followed by Almighty Moon, and Almighty Moon's on the outside, and Rapid Redemption's gone the wrong side of the running rail. Rapid Redemption has taken the wrong course. So, Rapid Redemption still jumping in front, but went to the wrong side of the rail. So the others are jumping that fence now. They're headed by a piece of the moon, who is in front of Hutton, Shadrach, and Sea Dragon, Almighty Moon, and then Willie L, Falstaff, 11th Day, Blackhill King, Wotter Trotter, and at the back is Aberfeldy. So they're approaching the fence by the paddock. So Rapid Redemption is in front, but bear in mind that horse took the wrong route and has refused. Rapid Redemption is out of the race, refuses fence number 5 anyway, having taken the wrong course before that. So going down the far side, it's a piece of the moon in front by a good length and a half. Hutton, Shadrach joined for second by Sea Dragon, and then 11th Day nipping up the inside. Willie L is not too far away, and they're followed by Almighty Moon as they go towards this next fence. Blackhill King is in the mix, Falstaff, Wotter Trotter, and the back mark is Aberfeldy. They have really grouped up now, with the exception of Aberfeldy. The others are tightly grouped, heading out towards the open ditch. There's a piece of the moon over that, with Almighty Moon on the outside, and Sea Dragon between horses now splitting them. Sea Dragon has gone into the lead. So it's Sea Dragon on towards a plain fence. From a piece of the moon, Almighty Moon, 11th Day is right there with the leaders, so too is Willie L. As they jump it. They're followed by Blackhill King, Falstaff out wide, Wotter Trotter. Back mark is Aberfeldy, but they're very closely grouped as they take the turn to the top right-hand corner and go to the 9th fence. So in a moment they'll straighten up and face the cross fence. It's Sea Dragon coming out of the bend in front. Sea Dragon by a length, 11th Day second, then a piece of the moon, and up along the outside as they jump that cross fence is Almighty Moon. So approaching the turn in, it's Sea Dragon, Willie L, Almighty Moon, 11th Day a piece of the moon, and then comes Falstaff with Hutton, Shadrach who's lost ground. On the inside is Blackhill King, and then Wotter Trotter, who's being given a pace ride by Joe Wright, and at the back, Aberfeldy, and Will Brown is now going towards another plain one. So as they approach this next fence, and Sea Dragon in the centre, rising just in front of Willie L, who's in the yellow and grey jacket to the right, and Almighty Moon is there to the outside. They're the leaders. The piece of the moon continues to track them. Green colours to the inside. That's 11th Day. So going on towards this next fence, it is fence number 11, circuit's time to the last, and it's Sea Dragon, Willie L, and right there Almighty Moon, going over, then a piece of the moon, being followed by Blackhill King, 11th Day, Falstaff, Wotter Trotter, and Hutton, Shadrach, with Aberfeldy, the back marker. One more lap to go. Ring that bell. They're going towards the 12th fence, and it's Sea Dragon and Willie L nipping up the inside. So as they go towards this next fence, and it is Sea Dragon, Willie L, 11th Day, Blackhill King and Almighty Moon jumping that one, going away from the enclosures. Wotter Trotter is held up a few lengths to Hutton, Shadrach, who's been pushed along, and the back marker is Aberfeldy. On the approach to the 13th, which is another plain fence, and it's Sea Dragon and Willie L. Those two by a length and a half to 11th day, Blackhill King, and then a piece of the moon, and Wotter Trotter is getting ever closer. A mistake there from Almighty Moon, who's on the outside, overtaken by Falstaff, and then further back to Aberfeldy. Hutton Shadrach is struggling. This is the ditch. Sea Dragon is the one who picks up in front, being followed by Willie L in second, Blackhill King third. Wotter Trotter is just in behind them as they go now towards a plain fence. 11th day is still handy. They're still very well bunched. A piece of the moon not too far off the leaders. Then comes Falstaff, who is a few lengths on from Aberfeldy, and then Almighty Moon and Hutton Shadrach is the one tailed off, and they've only got 3 to jump. So going down the side of the course, and it is Sea Dragon who is in front around that turn, but they're well bunched in behind. The cavalry are coming. It's Sea Dragon now being joined and possibly even heading going towards the cross fence. It's tight now as they move away from the cross fence. Blackhill King right alongside Sea Dragon, a piece of the moon, Willie L, Wotter Trotter. They're being chased by Falstaff and a few lengths to 11th day, then Aberfeldy. Looking back at Hutton Shadrach and Almighty Moon pulled up in the region of 3 out, heading now towards 2 from home. And as they come to it, Blackhill King, a piece of the moon. They're trying to gobble up Sea Dragon, they've done so. That was the second last fence, and it's Blackhill King. Here's Wotter Trotter, travelling extremely well in the light blue sleeves. Wotter Trotter still there, Falstaff driven along, heading now towards the final fence. Blackhill King joined by Wotter Trotter. Falstaff third, they're kicking away from a piece of the moon. Wotter Trotter, Blackhill King, they rise and land together, and on the flat now, Wotter Trotter has been given his head, and it's Joe Wright and Wotter Trotter sprinting away by about 3 or 4 lengths. A double for Joe. Wotter Trotter is the winner. Second, Blackhill King, back in third, Falstaff, fourth, piece of the moon, and they were followed in 5th position, they're tight to 5th position, with 11th day racing alongside Aberfeldy, and they were followed home by Willie L.